Good day to everybody. Today, through Ranaweera Associates YouTube channel Tax Talk, we are to discuss the recent tax amendments proposed by the government. To facilitate my delivery, I'll open a PowerPoint presentation. Yes, we'll continue. Recently proposed tax reforms. Now, as you know, in year 2019, government introduced a lot of tax reliefs and exemptions. As a result, in 2019, due to these amendments, the government is losing 600 billion to 800 billion per annum as government revenue. Now we'll take few statistics and see the gravity of this. The tax revenue to the GDP. In 2019, it was 12.7. In 2020, 9.1. In 2021, it has come down to 8.7%. Then government budget deficit. In 2019, it was 9.6%. In 2020, 11.1%. And 2021, it has gone up to 12.2%. Then government debts to GDP. In 2019, we had 86.9%. In 2020, it has gone up to 100.6%, and 2021 it has gone up to 104.6%. Now, with this situation, we are facing fiscal imbalance situation and foreign currency shortage situation, and as a result, poor credit rating is there. Now it is the high time for us to get treatments for these things. Urgent treatments are needed. Now, how to recover these things? What are the needy recovery actions? There are two main things. One is strong fiscal consolidation plan. That means we have to increase our income and reduce our expenses. Then macroeconomic stability. We have to get stabilized with macroeconomic situation. Now we will see what are the recent tax amendments proposed by the government. This is a small index which I have prepared as a guide of this PowerPoint presentation. Then first we will take the personal income. First we will take the income tax. Out of that, personal income tax. The government proposed some changes with effect from 1st October 2022. One proposal is to reduce the personal allowance of 3 million up to 1.8 million. Then the second proposal is to change the tax rates. Third is to change the tax slabs. Now if we'll take the tax rate and the tax slabs, the newly proposed tax rates and the tax slabs are like this. First 1.2 million of taxable income 4%, next 1.2 million of taxable income 8%, next 1.2 million 12, next 16, 20, 24, 28, 32. At present, we have only three tax rates. Those are 6%, 12% and 18%. Those are the standard rates, 6, 12 and 18, and the slabs are 3 million each. Now those slabs of 3 million has come down to 1.2 million. Those rates 6, 12, 18, now they change, and 18 rate, the maximum has gone up to 32%. However, the qualifying payments and reliefs are continuing. Now we will see the withholding tax changes proposed. They propose to change the withholding tax, mainly to reintroduce the withholding tax with effect from 1st October 2022. On employment income, earlier we were calling it as pay tax, then later on they changed it to APIT. Anyway, whatever the word, the withholding tax on employment income to reintroduce with effect from 1st October 2022 as a mandatory deduction. Any employee who is receiving more than 1.8 million annual income should mandatorily contribute for the withholding tax on employment income. Then we'll move to the withholding tax on investment income. That is also with effect from 1st October 2022. They propose to change. That is called advance income tax. Whatever the wording, anyway, it is withholding tax. Now, advance income tax on this particular withholding tax is mandatory on all these sources. On interest, they are reintroducing 5%. On dividend, reintroducing 14%. Then rent, reintroducing 10%, but earlier the liable threshold is 100,000 rupees per month. Then if it is exceeding 100,000 on entire amount, we have to deduct 10% withholding tax. In all other cases, it is 14%. Then advance income tax on dividends. These are the final withholding tax on anybody's dividend income and individual's interest income are final withholding taxes. Then we'll move forward with relate to the withholding tax on service payments. If any individual is getting more than 100,000 rupees per month, 100,000 rupees per month, if an individual is getting as a service fee, that should be liable to withholding tax at the rate of 5%. That is mandatory. Then earlier we had senior citizens interest relief. Now they are reintroducing the senior citizens interest relief of 1.5 million annum with effect from 1st October 2022. This is on interest income of senior citizens. Now we'll move to the corporate income tax. As you know, corporate standard income tax rate, earlier we had 28%, then they reduced it to 24%. At present it is 24% standard rate. Now they are proposing to increase it to 30% with effect from 1st October 2022. Then at the same time, the concessionary income tax rates on such as on SME, exports, the agro processing and all, that 14%, they are proposing to increase to 15% with effect from 1st October 2022. At the same time, it says the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, that is the global level, they say the global level, the lowest income tax rate is 15%. Therefore, if we will increase from 14% to 15%, our 15% rate, our rate is in par with the accepted rate in the world. Then we know on manufacturing we have a 18% tax rate, and on liquor, tobacco, betting and gambling businesses there's 40% tax rate. Those two tax rates continue to be at that rate, all those rates. Then dividends, now non-resident person, when a non-resident person receives any dividend, it is totally tax-free in Sri Lanka. As a result, now the government proposed to reintroduce the tax on non-residents' dividend income, that is the withholding tax of 14%. Anyway, the withholding tax of 14% is there. That is, this non-residents' dividend income tax liability, normal tax liability, is with effect from 1st April 2023. Therefore, they have a grace period to decide whether to continue these investments in Sri Lanka or to withdraw. Next, the tax holidays. Now, in 2019, 2020, early 2020, they introduced a lot of tax holidays under third schedule to the Inland Revenue Act. These tax holidays, out of these so many tax holidays, the government is proposing 5 tax holidays. They have selected 5 tax holidays to be removed. However, even these 5 tax holidays, category of 5 tax holidays, you can enjoy if you start this business before 31st March 2023. If you commence the business undertaking, project or undertaking prior to 31st March 2023, you can enjoy these tax holidays. If you start after this, then you can't enjoy. The effective date is not given, but with this limitation, we can assume that this change is with effect from 31st March 2023. Now we will see what are the 5 exemptions, what they propose to remove. Selling of construction material recycled by a construction company. There's a 10-year tax holiday. Now they are removing that tax holiday. Then any individual who has completed a vocational education at a educational center approved by Territorial Vocational Education Commission. You study, and after that, if you will start a business, you get 5 years tax holiday. Then next is, if a Sri Lankan person, if a resident do manufacturing of boats and ships in Sri Lanka, that profit is exempted for tax for 7 years. Then letting out of bonded warehouses and warehouses related to offshore businesses connecting with Colombo and Hambantota ports. Those businesses are exempted for tax for an unlimited time period. However, if you'll start the business after this 31st March 2023, you will be losing that tax holiday. Then the fifth and last item is, if you do any construction, installation of equipment and any other related work and any technical services with relate to the communication towers, then you are getting 5 years tax holiday starting from 1st January 2021. They are proposing to withdraw this tax holiday also for the businesses starting after that, the day after the date of 31st March 2023, right? Then in addition to this income tax change, the tax holiday removal, now there are certain double deduction ability. Now the marketing and communication expenses, if you will incur marketing and communication expenses, those expenses you can deduct twice under Section 11 of the Inland Revenue Act as expenditure incurred in generating of profit and income. You can deduct that. Again, under the schedule, you can deduct it as additional deductions. Now this deduction, they are going to withdraw with effect from 1st April 2023. Then they feel that the definition given for multinational companies, the word multinational company definition is not up to the mark, up to the level. As a result, they are proposing to revisiting the definition and do whatever the amendments required. Then in addition to these few, if there are any connected amendments to be done, they are approving those connected amendments as well. Now we'll move to the VAT. Now under the VAT, they have already reduced the VAT rate from 8%, increased the VAT rate from 8% to 12% with effect from 1st June 2022. Already gazetted and legalized because the minister has the power to gazette it. However, they are proposing to decrease the VAT liable threshold from 300 million a year to 120 million per year. That means at present we have 300 million a year. They are proposing to reduce it to 120 million a year with effect from 1st October 2022. Effect from 1st October 2022. Then, in addition to these things, they propose to review the exemptions granted under the Act and to remove unproductive exemptions, all unproductive exemptions to be removed. Then next day they propose to make liable the condominium residential apartment sales. When a condominium residential apartment is sold, at present it is exempted from tax, but they are proposing to make it liable to tax at the normal rate of 12% with effect from 1st October 2022. As a result, if you are planning to dispose or buy a condominium residential apartment, better to finalize the deal before 1st October 2022. Then removal of zero VAT rate applicable to tourism industry where they are using more than 60% input from local input of 60%. They have a 0% VAT rate. As a result of this COVID, they introduced that. Now the 0% is to be replaced with 12%, increase to 12% with effect from 1st October 2022. Then even under VAT it says if there are any other consequential amendments, those are also to be approved. Now we'll move to telecommunication levy. Now as you know, on 1st of December 2019, the telecommunication levy reduced from 15% to 11.25%. As a result, government lost that income by 28% government loss. Now, if you'll see the figures, in 2019 we got 18.3 billion income on that, but 2020 we got only 13.1 billion income. This is a very easy collecting tax. Collection cost is zero. Now, but in a situation like that, we shouldn't lose these things. As a result, now the government is proposing to increase this telecommunication levy from 11.25% to 15%, and it has already implemented with effect from 1st June 2022. Now the legalization part, the formalities, completing of formalities to be done by the line ministry and the secretary. Now we'll move to betting and gaming levy. Amendments proposed with relate to the betting and gaming levy, these are effective from 1st January 23, that is to match with the calendar year. Now under this, first we'll see the gaming business like casino. For them, the current annual fee is 200 million, levy is 200 million. It is proposed to increase that to 500 million a year. Then on betting, there are three bases depending on the way you run the business. If you are running the betting business through agents, the present charge is 4 million. It is proposed to increase to 5 million. If you are carrying out this betting business with telecast facilities, then at present 600,000 charge per annum, it is proposed to increase to 1 million per annum. Then if you are just running a betting center without telecast facilities, at present it is 50,000. They proposed it to increase up to 75,000. Then there's another tax under this which is based on the gross collection, levy on the gross collection. The levy on gross collection, at present it is 10%. They propose to increase it to 15%. They propose to increase it to 15%. Now we'll move forward how they are going to. Now we discussed the 4 tax categories: income tax, VAT, telecommunication levy, then gaming and betting levy. Now, but even we increase these things, we have to strengthen the revenue administration system. Otherwise, we will not be able to, government will not be able to collect this tax. Therefore, they are proposing to strengthen the revenue administration system of the main tax collecting agencies, that is customs, the inland revenue, then excise department. How they are going to do that? They propose two ways. One is to improve the technology. The other one is to carry out regular tax audits. By doing these two, they are trying to improve the revenue administration system. Now we'll see. Now up to now we were discussing all matters with relate to the taxes. Now we'll discuss the proposal what they have given for fiscal management thing. There's an act called Fiscal Management Responsibility Act number 3 of 2003. Under this particular act, when the government issue guarantees, there's an upper limit of issuing guarantees which is 15% of the GDP. They can issue guarantees only up to 15% of the GDP. But unfortunately, due to rupee devaluation against the foreign currency, this 15% on GDP is not sufficient. Therefore, now they are proposing two things. One, it says if this requirement, enhancing requirement, arose as a result of the depreciation of our money, or as a foreseen circumstances, then they says even this 15% is there, they can go, treasury can go beyond 15% and give the guarantees. Then the next, inclusion of escape clause to ensure the flexibility. That is, in addition to this escape clause, they can introduce escape clause and bypass these limits and issue guarantees. Then we'll see how they are going to legalize all these things. Out of the things what we discuss, the VAT rate increase has already legalized, already gazetted. Then the telecommunication levy has already introduced, implemented. Right. Then other things, so many other amendments are there. Other amendments, now the legal draftman should draft the amendment bill. Thereafter, it should go to the Attorney General for legal clearance. Once the legal clearance is given, it is to be gazetted as a draft bill. Once it is gazetted, it is to be discussed at the Parliament and approve it at the Parliament subject to Parliament committee level amendments. Once it is approved, it is a law. It is a law. Right. Now, what we should do as citizens of the country, I think what we should do is to pay the correct taxes on correct time. We have to pay the correct tax on correct time, right? For what? That is for the development of our country. However, that is not the end. Just paying tax won't help. We have to get together, especially the taxpayers should get together and take action to eradicate corruptions. Because the biggest issue in Sri Lanka is the corruption. As a result, just paying taxes won't help. After paying taxes, we should get together and influence to eradicate the corruptions. Right. I think I have discuss all these points in this. If you have any further things to get clarified, at any time, you all can contact us for clarification. Now the future plans are, now this is at the proposal level. We had this session at the proposal level. Next, once the bills are passed, we will have another session to discuss the bill level. We will have another session to discuss the things in bills level. Then thereafter we will have another session once these laws are legislated. Saying that, I would like to thank everybody for following this video, and we will meet again with a fresh video. Thank you. Good day.